In 1983, Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird created a unique team of Teenage Mutants, and unlike another team of Teenage Mutants, this one was created purely as a joke. Eastman and Laird were struggling artists messing around in November of that year, but that joke quickly became one of the most enduring and endearing comic books of all time, whose popularity exponentially increased thanks to the animated series. Chances are you know this theme by heart. And as nostalgic as some might be for the original animated series and outstanding merchandise, I wanted to focus on a particular entry in the Ninja Turtles mythos, the 1990 film. I recently rewatched it because I wanted to show it to my son, and it was a movie I watched throughout my childhood. But as time had gone on and my tastes changed, it wasn't a movie I really wanted to spend as much time with. I always loved it because it was the Ninja Turtles, and how could I not? But growing up, I wasn't sure that it held up with some of my other more recent favorites. But as I watched it, I grew more and more enamored with it. The 1990 film was telling me a potent and emotionally charged narrative, and was right before my eyes this whole time, and I never knew it. I was reinvigorated with a new love for the film, all because of what it was trying to say. It turns out the film has a lot to say about fathers and their sons. There's a common through line with the Turtles, but also with the human, Danny. The film takes the word teenage to heart as it deals with teenagers that feel like their parents don't understand them. Raphael acts out of anger and impulsivity and doesn't feel like Splinter understands where he's coming from. Danny's father doesn't understand what Danny's problem is, but instead of attempting to understand, he lashes out at him and still treats him like a child. And Shredder, who's the perfect antagonist for the Turtles naturally, is even more perfect for them in this film, because he's a false father. Shredder takes in these vulnerable, misunderstood kids and uses them for his own means. Shredder's and Splinter's parenting accentuates the dichotomy between the two characters. Both of them adopt these teens, but the difference is that Splinter genuinely cares. Splinter may have disagreements with his children, but it's only because he's trying to better them. Shredder, meanwhile, expresses his disappointment by sending his henchmen to deal with his children. Even after gaining favor and making Shredder proud, he beats them like dogs. But it speaks to how important of a father figure Splinter is, that after he's kidnapped by Shredder, the team begins to fall apart. Raphael is nearly killed, and the Turtles have to leave Manhattan. They only come back together through a shared vision of Splinter expressing how proud he is of his children, and how deeply he loves them. They are then able to return home and take out the Foot Clan. And even Splinter is driven by how great of a man his father was, as it was he that taught Splinter the art of ninjutsu. Shredder killed Splinter's father in a fit of jealousy, and Splinter's mere existence is a reminder that Shredder will never be the man that Hamato Yoshi was. This rage allows Splinter the opportunity to avenge the death of his father. So even the climax of the film is dictated by how good of a father Hamato Yoshi was years ago. The entirety of the Foot Clan's existence is called into question. As Casey points out, this isn't a real family. Shredder uses his children to obtain that which he desires. He cares nothing for them or the people they hurt. And that right there is the ultimate damnation of Shredder as a father. As Splinter states, all fathers care for their sons, which he relates to Danny, and Danny sees it for himself at the end, when his father shows that he's only ever been worried about him because he honestly cares about him. He's his son after all. It's a touching moment that, as a father myself, brings tears to my eyes. All of this points to the fact that the 1990 film showed us that you can craft a relatable and engaging story through a ridiculous premise. That even though the film centers around a cast of 4 walking, talking turtles with ninja skills and a deep love for pizza, that doesn't mean it should be automatically dismissed as a nonsensical farce. It's something the new animated series hasn't forgotten, but it's what the new films unfortunately lack. Never assume that just because you're making a film centered on outrageous material, that automatically means that it can't be deep and meaningful. And the same could be said for the viewers of those films. So next time you see a movie featuring a ridiculous premise, don't automatically write it off. You never know. It just might surprise you.
I'd buy that for $1.
Oh, there it is.